Hey guys, it's Clay Squires from Santa Lucia's High School. I'm a U.S. history teacher there. Let's kind of just get into this. So, what we're going to be talking about today are some of the lowest performing benchmarks. Here you see the Civil War reconstruction and final settlement of the West. That's what we're going to be kind of addressing. And then, as you can see right here, we're going to focus on these three, but all in separate videos. Today, we're just going to talk about this one right here. So 3.1. All right, let's get into it. So economic challenges to farmers and the response to it. First, we have to understand geographically where the farmers or the homesteaders actually live. And the place that they live is right in this region right here. So if we're looking at Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado, Oklahoma, even some parts of northern Texas, this is the area of the Great Plains that we refer to. And farmers moved here from East Coast cities like New York City, Philadelphia, and they expanded westward because the land at the time was cheap. All right, so farmers needed solutions. Therefore, they had to adapt to the harshness of the land. This was a harsh place. They didn't have a lot of trees, they didn't have a lot of water, and so they had to make the use of their environment. Take a look here in this picture. If you look here closely, these guys are actually shoveling grass, or what's known as sod, S-O-D. And there's a huge pile of sod behind them. They use this material for feeding their cattle, feeding livestock, burning it. Sometimes they used it, as you can see in this depiction right here, for their rooftops because it was a great insulator. So really, what we're talking about is that they have to be really resourceful. Now, there were ranchers and there were farmers. We need to kind of distinguish the difference between these two because both of them moved out west to the Great Plains. So what is the difference between them? Well, ranchers, when you look at ranchers, I want you to think about money. Farmers, I want you to think about somewhat poor, not having a lot of money. Farmers is equal to homesteaders. So these are equal. Farmers, homesteaders. So ranchers, essentially what they were wealthy landowners that bought up large tracts of land and they owned a lot of livestock. Farmers, on the other hand, they were just looking for opportunity outside the big city. They wanted cheap land and they wanted economic opportunities. Now, why were they angry towards the farmers? Well, because the farmers were taking up their land that the livestock was grazing on. And the anger for ranchers over here, for the farmers, was really that they were encroaching on their land. When you have a bunch of cows come across your property, you're not necessarily happy. All right, secondly, let's look here. Take a look at some of the obstacles and their solutions. So these are the obstacles that were facing homesteaders or farmers in this time. The first obstacle, lack of building materials. What did they do? Well, their solution was they had abundance of sod and lawn grass. So let's just use the grass. Number two, they were far removed from the cities. What do? Well, they had railroads to help transport the material back to the city so that they could make money. Third, they had little rainfall. What'd they do for that? They dug wells. Four, they had tough soil. So they invented new machines for breaking up the soil so that you could plant something in it. All of these are adaptations to the obstacles here. You will see these on tests. All right, now finally, let's look at some of the sample questions. Transported grains, goods, dug wells, windmills, specialty farming tools. What title would best fit the box above? Well, Pause the video, take a look, I want you to read, and then I'm going to answer it. So if we look here, methods used during the gold rush, no, that doesn't make any sense. B, conflicts between ranchers and homesteaders. No, there's no conflict here. C, how farmers adapted to the Great Plains. Yeah, maybe. Indian and Western farm cooperation. This says nothing about Indian cooperation with Western farmers. Okay, so the answer is going to be C. All right, let's look at this next question. Fighting erupts over property rights. Fights over private property between sheep ranchers and farmers at an all-time high. What conflict is described in this mock newspaper heading above? Well, what are they talking about here? Pause it. Pause the video right now. So if we look here below, American Indians oppose rancher and farmer, battle over railroad prices, battle between ranchers and grazing rights. Isn't that what we just talked about in one of the previous sections? Yes, this is the only one that actually makes sense. So we're gonna choose C. But let's look here one more time. Let's read all the questions because a lot of times we don't read all the questions, and I didn't do it just now. Ranchers with cattle oppose farmers with fenced-in properties. Which one is it? This is actually a great answer, but this answer is a little bit better. So the answer that we're going to go with is D. Ranchers with cattle oppose farmers with fenced-in properties. If you have a fenced-in property, obviously you can't walk your cattle. And that was the big issue. All right, so this concludes this video. Come check out another video, and I'll see you again soon.